Meghan Markle returned to her Archetypes podcast on Tuesday by discussing Asian stereotypes. Like in previous episodes, people are talking and are not happy. While there are no royal family digs this time, it does show how uncultured the Duchess of Montecito is about Asian culture. While chatting with Lisa Ling and Margaret Cho, the former actress dissed the Austin Powers films for sexually tokenizing Asian women, which didn't set well with the others. Meghan Markle is not as cultured as she wants the world to believe she is. She's inciting racism without realizing it. It's no wonder that hashtag Meghan Markle is a racist is trending on Twitter. It's like she thinks archetypes is her word when it's been around for hundreds of years. Of course, people took to Twitter to share their thoughts. One person said, "So what exactly did a guest say? Isn't what hashtag Meghan Markle saying racist? I'm so confused by her podcast, it's ridiculous. Hashtag racist." While another added, "I feel offended as an Asian woman with this podcast. I don't even know what to say, just that Meghan Markle is a race baiter." A third person stated, "Meghan Markle's podcast should have been called I Love Racist Stereotypes instead of Archetypes. This episode is terrible." While a fourth user said, "What does she think she's doing? Definitely needs to move on." Elsewhere in the podcast, Meghan spoke about how she was always exposed to the multitude of Asian cultures while growing up in Los Angeles. However, there was one instance where she went to a Korean spa as a teenager and felt awkward when people walked around with no clothes on. "My weekends were spent in Little Tokyo, or having iced teas in Thai Town, or sitting with my friend Christina Wong and her parents at a local Chinese restaurant," she recalled. "I remember this so vividly, and them teaching me why chow fun with dry noodles was so much better than chow fun with wet noodles." Meghan associated Asian cuisine with noodles. There is more to Asian culture than noodles. What about rice dishes? Spring rolls, Peking duck, sushi, kimchi, dim sum? Also, didn't Meghan claim in her letter to US Congress that she grew up poor and could only afford the $5 salad at bar at Sizzler? Oh wait, she wasn't poor, as her dad took her to some of the most expensive restaurants in Los Angeles. She bragged about this on Instagram before meeting Harry. Reportedly, Markle doesn't want offensive statements about the royal family to be part of the podcast anymore. According to royal expert Neil Sean, Meghan Markle is working closely with the producers of Archetypes to ensure that none of the upcoming episodes lined up have any negative or derogatory statements that might be offensive to the royal family. There's a lot of work going on behind the scenes on the remaining podcasts. We know there have been 4 in the can already that are ready to go, but according to a very good source, they're going through them all with a very fine tooth comb to make sure there's nothing derogatory, hurtful, or indeed that could cause yet another explosive time bomb, he said. Sean also claimed the public could look at this move in 2 different ways. You could look at this 2 ways really. Is Meghan changing her tune to now try and refit back into the family she left behind? Or indeed, is she having second thoughts because she doesn't want to create any more trouble? But during this week's episode, some listeners were convinced that Markle took another veiled swipe at the royal family. After all, she stressed that there's nothing more important than being yourself. In fact, ahead of this week's Archetypes episode, Markle was dubbed Mega Liar for hiring renowned American writer Nicole Pasulka to be her fact-checker. Meghan hasn't chosen a run-of-the-mill recruit, but a young and highly talented American writer, Nicole Pasulka, whose interests closely mirror her own, Daily Mail editor Richard Eden said.